About 15 years ago, someone said to me, do not butt weld. You must lap weld because butt welding isn't strong enough. Of course, I argued with him, and 15 years later, I'm going to find out. What I've done is cut out a load of these test samples, and we're going to pull them apart in my tensile testing machine and find out the results. There's also some other things I want to test as well, MIG weld versus TIG weld, and spot welds, plug welds, that sort of thing. So I've got 22 of these, and do you know how long it took me to make those? Well, I can't remember how long it took, but it was a long time. The first thing I'm going to do is pull one apart that hasn't been modified in any way. That's quite a simple calculation. You just take the area, that's the strength of the materials, insect DCO1, 39,000 pounds per square inch of material, and that's 39,000 to 59,000. They give you a range, so that should break between 850 kilograms and 1287 kilograms is what we're looking for. So this is my tensile testing machine, and I've got the sample loaded up in the jaws there. All this does is measure the hydraulic pressure it takes to pull apart, and we know the size of the piston in there, which is 60 inches squared. You times that by the pressure, and then you get your force in pounds. Simple old-fashioned technology. That's our first test then. Broke at 51 psi hydraulic pressure, which is 1390 kilograms, slightly above the top limit of what I predicted, but I think that's close enough because manufacturers of materials tend to underestimate the strength of the materials just to be on the safe side. The next one then, I'll cut this in half with a guillotine. I'll weld it up via MIG butt welding, and we'll see what this breaks at. A bit of an ugly weld there, I'm afraid. I've got the wire feed set too high, so I've just dropped that down. But look at the penetration on the back. We've got full penetration, which is what you want to be doing. And people ask me, what should I set my welder to? Well, it's so you achieve this. If it's not penetrating in a test, then it's set to low in amps. The MIG butt weld then broke at 49 psi, and it didn't break on the weld, it broke back from it as you would expect. And 49 psi is 1336 kilograms, hardly any difference between that and the one that wasn't welded. Let's try a lap joint then. So this is the lap weld. I've had to turn the welder up a notch to try and penetrate both materials. I haven't got penetration like there was on the butt weld, but really I don't want to go too high with the welder because I wouldn't do that with working on bodywork, because you're putting so much heat into this and distortion is already a potential problem. So I think this is a realistic experiment where that level of penetration would be quite normal for someone doing a lap joint. See, I joggled the edge there like most people do to make sure the two outer faces are in line. I don't use this joint, I haven't done for years. The lap weld then, 54 psi, 1472 kilograms. Nothing wrong with that at all. The butt weld proves that you don't have to have a pretty weld to be a strong weld, and there is nothing wrong with the strength of a butt weld compared to a lap weld from my findings so far. Next, let's do some TIG welding. Here we have TIG using filler rod. That is the front and that is the back side. So we've got good penetration on the back. I've done a video comparing the hardness of a TIG weld compared to a MIG weld, and people still think the MIG weld is a harder weld, but it's not. It uses the same filler rod, the same amount of heat. There's no difference in hardness. unless it's a fusion weld where you're not using filler rod. That's the difference. A company called Wolfbox has sent me this to have a look at, and I think this is something that every classic car owner should carry around with them, because what it is, it's a tire inflator, and it's a jump pack, and it's also a power supply. And these are things that you could really do with sometimes when you're out in your classic car that isn't as reliable as the modern cars. It's not too big. I mean, this would perhaps just about fit in your glove box, or definitely fit somewhere in the car. If we look at the amperage there, look, 2000 amps. What 12-volt car batteries do you know that's 2000 amps? This should start almost anything. It's got a handy little light there, which also flashes if you need it to. And that is USB-A for charging your phone, and USB-C, I think it is, for charging the device. Let's try out the pump bit, which just screws in there. And you preset your pressure, and it stops when it gets to the right pressure. This will be a challenge for it. There isn't even any ignition lights. That battery is completely dead. Wow. Would you believe it? Jump leads wouldn't even start that. That is impressive. Honestly, I tried for 20 minutes with jump leads to start that car, and that thing did it in about 5 seconds. Amazing. I am so impressed with that. That's going to stick around the workshop as well. It's going to be real handy. Check out the link in the description. TIG with filler rod then did very well. Didn't actually break at the weld at all. It broke up here, so it must have been a slight defect up here, but nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Next is TIG fusion weld, no filler rod. So this is TIG fusion welding, and I've just used a tiny bit of filler rod just right on the ends because I don't want to create a weakness there. That is the back side. Fusion TIG then, 48 psi, nothing wrong with that. It broke right along the weld, so I'd say this is the weakest weld of the lot so far, which is not surprising because you're going to get some undercutting where it fuses together. Let's try a MIG butt weld that's been ground down. A MIG weld ground down then, 46 psi, that is 1254 kilograms, and that is the weakest so far, but we're not talking very much at all. I'm really quite pleased with that. I grind down my MIG welds, and I'm pleased to see that I'm not affecting the strength by very much. Let's have a go at a spot weld. That spot weld test was a complete fail. I don't know why, it's a bit concerning. I did a test before I did that, and this is how it's supposed to come apart. You're supposed to see a slug on one side and a hole in the other. And I always do this when I'm using the spot welder, but for some reason this didn't weld. I've had it before where the pressure between the two electrodes isn't enough, and that will cause a failure, but I'm thinking the pressure isn't that bad. That was better, but we still haven't got a hole and a slug. It's kind of pulled some of the material away with it, but that isn't good enough. So 16 psi is 436 kilograms. Let's try cleaning the material off, because Zinc has a very thin zinc layer on it. Let's clean that off and see if we can get this to improve. It's still confusing why my bench test using pliers seems to work and pulling it directly doesn't. Well, that was definitely better. It's pulled quite hard before it broke off, but we still haven't got a hole and a slug. 21 psi, that is 572 kilograms, which is actually, it's quite a lot of load, to be honest. I mean, that's a fair amount of weight, isn't it? That one spot weld is taken. It's just, it could be better. Let's see how strong a plug weld is compared to this. Well, that was a bit unexpected. I thought that would be a lot stronger than the spot weld, 21 psi, 20 psi. So it wasn't. That plug weld hole was 8mm diameter, and that's what I've been using for years, because I think the consistency is better with a bigger hole. It doesn't seem to be that strong. So let's try a smaller hole. A 6mm plug weld was a fail, and this is what I encountered before going to the 8mm plug weld hole. It's just more reliable. I'm not saying that a 6mm won't work. You just have to make sure you arc up right in the center of that hole, and the smaller that hole is, the more difficult that is. You can try and offset it by turning the welder up, but it's still going to be hit and miss, is my prediction. Let's try that 6mm again, and I'll turn the welder up again, because I actually turned it up from that setting. So that worked. 6mm plug weld, 25 psi, which is 681 kilograms. That's a decent result, and I think it's to do with the breakout strength, because most of the time when we're working on vehicles, the overlap will be about 12 millimeters. That's quite typical. So if you use a smaller hole, then it's going to be stronger because there's more material to hold it together. But, you know, I have to put this one step down from full whack on my MIG welder, which is a 200 amp MIG welder, to get that to penetrate well enough to do a proper test. There's one more thing I want to try regarding the spot welding, and that is to dress these electrodes, see if we can get a better result, because I think there's a bit of a flat spot there. Let's see if we can improve that. You can get spot weld shaping tools, but they're very expensive. That's not too bad by hand. I was just using this as a radius gauge. Cleaning the electrodes and shaping them didn't make any difference then. 13 psi. Underwhelming. This is probably the last test I'm going to do. This is cleaned off both sides, but sprayed zinc-rich weld-through primer, which is what I always use when working on bodywork. (18 psi) then, using weld through primer and cleaning the sides. That was 21 without the weld through primer, so a slight reduction in strength using the weld through primer. And we still haven't got a hole and a slug, so could be better. What did we learn then? First of all, a lap joint is very slightly stronger than a butt joint, but there really isn't much in it at all. So to say that a lap joint is stronger, not really. If we look at the one with no weld at all, that is 51 psi. The lap joint was 54, and that will be just down to a slight variation in the width. There is certainly no problem with butt welding strength-wise. If we look at the TIG, the Fusion TIG I expected to be a bit weaker than that, so that was surprising how strong that was. I was glad to see that the MIG weld ground down, a very little difference in strength there, so pleased with that. The spot welding I was disappointed with. I thought that would be stronger than it was. I expected to see a hole and a slug. I didn't see that, and I can't get that to happen pulling it apart in a tensile strength test. Plug welding I expected to be stronger than it was. Not much difference to the spot welding really. Slightly better, but you know, not a big difference. Also, an 8mm hole for a plug weld is slightly weaker than a 6mm. 6mm 25 psi, 8mm 20 psi, but is a bit inconsistent with getting it to weld at all. So you've got to be careful with that. So I'd favour the 8mm and get the reliability there. The zinc rich weld through primer does affect the strength slightly, which you would expect, but we have to have something between two bare metal sheets, otherwise it's going to corrode. You'll see some top-end restorers advertising that they don't grind their welds, and that's because it keeps the strength there. Well, there isn't much difference, is there? When you are plug welding, make sure you've got these amps nice and high, otherwise you could have a failure like that one. Well, I thought that was quite interesting. I hope you did too. On my other channel, I've got a very interesting video coming up. In the next week or two, I built a flying boat and I went and tested it and it flew. So looking forward to posting that one. I know you are car guys, but you know, cars don't fly, do they? Well, unless you're chitty chitty bang bang.